Rocco boy. How's it going, pup? I need this chair. Come on. Go lay down. That's a good boy. Oh, hey there. Welcome to Graphic Disarray, people. Hope you're all doing well. That's Rocco over there. It is Tuesday morning, a bright and sunny Tuesday morning here in New England. I am once again in my chair next to my fireplace. Don't let that bright sun fool you. It's a little chilly out there. But, you know, got the coffee working. Just ate a Butterfinger. So I'm all fired up, ready to go here. So what do I want to talk about today? Well, oddly enough, I'm going to talk about company culture. Wow, what a groundbreaking idea. Like nobody's ever talked about that before, right? Well, my take on it's going to be a little different because it is such a big talking point, you know, in social media and among CEOs about trying to create, you know, this culture inside of their company, you know, and you know what I've realized, you know, after some looking inward over the past couple of years is that I don't think I've given that enough oxygen over time because, you know, as I'm looking back over the, you know, somewhat rocky last 3 years or so of, you know, my professional life is that when I really drill down on, okay, I'm a sales guy. I work at this company, I worked at that company, I worked at that company. Now, when I worked here, I was firing on all cylinders, couldn't miss, things were great. You know, when I worked here, not quite as good, but you know, still respectable. But I work at this place and man, you shouldn't do this. You suck at this. This is no good. Wow. Pretty different experiences, right? So what was the defining difference between those places? I mean, I was the same, you know, give or take. I mean, you know, we're not always at our strongest. We're not always at our weakest. But looking back at it, you know, one thing I realized is that, you know, the culture of those companies is very conducive to, you know, what they get out of you. So if you're at work and you're laughing, you're having, you know, fun with your coworkers and you've got this, you know, environment that you're, you know, free to exchange ideas and it's, you know, wide open and you know, your opinion is respected and, you know, that sort of thing. Well, it's much easier to be at the top of your game because you're not all bound up, you know, you're free. And then, you know, you take the other company where, you know, you did all right. You know, something was off. Something was off. You know, you weren't quite unleashed, but you weren't quite tied down either. You know, and then you take company 3 where, you know, every day it feels like you're walking into, you know, a funeral. Well, that's going to be pretty demotivating, right? So the reason I bring that up is because, you know, I have had a rocky, you know, 2 or 3 years in my professional history. And, you know, part of that is, you know, COVID, obviously. That was a huge disruption. You know, I was at a company I was, you know, pretty happy to be at that got shut down because of, permanently, because of the pandemic. And then I went to a company that, you know, was kind of like, it was in the middle of the pandemic. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll work there. Because, I mean, who knows when this is going away. So I kind of took the first thing I could get. And I was a square peg in a round hole at that place, you know. I didn't fit. And the difference between those two environments is it's huge. It's huge, you know? And then, you know, more recently, as many of you know, I had been working at Enhanced Color in Danbury, and after about 7 or 8 weeks there, we decided to part ways, which was, not ultimately what I saw coming. It was on paper a perfect job for me. But, once we got into it, once we, week to week to week, something was just off. For me, for them, we weren't a fit. And that's okay. It's a hard way to find out, don't get me wrong, but it's okay. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with you because, you don't fit the culture of the company. It just means that you don't fit the culture at the company. And, maybe you don't want to fit that culture, it's something you got to look at. And something I'm definitely looking at this point because, I've been bouncing around the past few years. I don't typically do that. I don't like it. I like to go in somewhere and stay there and be a company guy and preach the brand and when you're not engaged, it's pretty tough to do that, if not impossible. So, now that I'm looking at, catching on somewhere, well, when I interview at the place, I have to interview them as much as they're interviewing me and get a sense of, okay, do I truly fit here? Because if I don't, am I going to get more of the same? And, honestly, at 44 years old, I cannot be going job to job for little short periods of time and then, just hoping for the best. That's not good for anybody. It's not good for your work history. It's not good for your resume. But most of all, it's not good for your head. So, part of the reason I was talking about all that good news is, I found the job yesterday. Talked to the owner a couple of times last week, had great conversations, but, when I met him yesterday, it was, not only is it the perfect job, as far as, what my responsibilities are, it's a really big growth role that, I have a lot of responsibility in, and I am going to have the chance to expand an existing company in a big way, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. And I'll be overseeing the sales department as well, which is, I think a better fit for me, combined with, a semi-operations role. I'm really, really excited about that. So, as far as the culture goes, it really feels like a good fit, and that's important. I do feel like I'm going to be free to speak my mind, in a respectful way, of course, but it's such a relief, I can't even describe. But, moving forward, think about it a little bit. The culture of the company you're at right now, is it a fit for you? It's not about getting along with people necessarily. It's about bigger picture. Can you stand behind that company and be proud of everything you do? Some people are content to just, come to work, keep their head down, and then go home. But that's not me. I have to be actively engaged in moving, and tell me I'm wrong, but I think culture is important. So, ponder that for a bit. Decide whether or not you think you're where you belong. If you think there's a greener pasture out there. But that's it for me this week. I hope you have a great week, and I appreciate you letting me vent and tell my story a little bit. And until next time, keep your head up. Keep yourself grounded, feet on the ground. As far as the rat race, keep running.